Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Holy shit!
Morning, Valhalla, and right off the bat, we got a $2 super chat from Jedi Masters, Lost in Space and Classic Sci-Fi. He says, good morning, Loki and Zeropium. Skull, my brother. Hopefully you're doing well and having an absolutely fantastic morning. And we've got a member chat from Magony Draw saying, good morning, Valhalla, this morning. Hell yeah, good morning to both of you awesome gentlemen. Let's kick it off the right way and get it going. That's right. This one's just for you guys. A little skull and a little tuck and roll. What a crazy weekend. What a crazy weekend. Good morning, everybody. Hello. I see you all there. Good morning. Hopefully you guys are having a great one. It's Monday. Time to get your week on. Time to get your week on because it's Monday. Time to start the week. Not for everybody, but for most people, Monday is the day to start the week. So we're going to kick it off with some lethal weapon talk. But before we do that, just because Zero was like, yeah, let's get it all out of the way before we start the show. We did a show, about 2 years ago? It was about 2 years ago now. I mean, shit, it feels like a couple years ago now, about a certain CEO, head of, ruler of that got into some trouble with a woman. And another individual was claimed to be a part of this, and the news and the media came out with pictures of text messages and all kinds of crazy stuff. But the text messages were recreations of a text message, so they weren't like a real text message. It's kind of crazy. About that steel cage match, that was so exciting. I was totally not playing on my phone through the entire thing. Wow.
I I I told Loki, let's get this out of the way backstage so we don't talk about, the sports during the show. But you know what, Project? I am with you because I was sitting there with my buddies watching the show both days, and I said, I think several times, the cage match sucked. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I mean, let's not even draw attention to the fact that those, totally realistic handcuffs just basically fell apart in friggin' werewolf boy's hands. Yeah, the cage match sucked. So overall, I thought it was a pretty decent show. Night 2 was obviously really, really heavily gimmicked compared to the first night. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my! But overall, I thought it was a pretty good event. But Loki, what about that certain individual that got roped in with all of that courtroom drama a couple years ago with that certified billionaire?
So here's the deal. The and I don't know what the fuck happened. I do know what we've been given, and that is that the text messages were recreations of what she remembered in the text messages. The text messages have never been found. There are no charges pending on either of these individuals, whether they did it or not, whether they had issues or not, whatever, when, whatnot. No charges have been filed against Brock Lesnar. Nothing criminal, nothing private, nothing anything. Even with that, nobody predicted this. That's absolutely correct from Project Storytime. Nobody predicted this. Nobody saw this coming. I sure as shit didn't see it coming. Why? Because we live in cancel culture. We live in a time where everybody is canceled, whether it doesn't matter whether an allegation is true or not. As soon as it comes up, you get canceled. They did this to the guy in that one sci-fi show that was popular for a minute, that got removed because he hugged the fans that came to see him. He gave them hugs. Now, if we're doing that, you saw a certain punk ass sumbitch the other night hug a girl that was like, "Oh my God, can I give you a hug?" And he was like, "Yeah, come here." And gave her a hug because she asked him. She put her hands out and she was like, "I feel so bad for you. Can I give you a hug?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a crybaby little bitch." As he was walking his way back up the ramp. We're canceling people for all of this stupid shit. Yes, The Expanse. Thank you very much, Project. As we covered when all of that happened. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, there's this of him doing this and this and this." No, he was never charged. There was never any evidence. It's all, well, we got a complaint and we have a feeling. Apparently, WWE legal cleared him, so he's back. Everybody having a fucking conniption fit. Everybody saying, "Oh my God, how can you have this type of person on your roster? Or how could you welcome this person back after he did this?" Nothing was ever proven that he did anything, and he was never charged with anything.
Yeah.
So until he is charged, you show me where he is charged. And this would go for a woman as well as a man. If this was happening to Rhea Ripley, I'd say the exact same shit, or whatever her name is, Donnie, Dommy, Mommy, whatever the fuck you want to call her. It doesn't matter who it was. Until there are charges filed, I am not going to say this person did this. I'm not going to say that, "Oh my God, this person should be held accountable and should be blah, 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 and yada, yada." I want to see charges. I want to see the evidence. I want them to show this shit. Show us this shit, whether it's showing us in court or showing us in the news, wherever, because what they did was they sold everyone a lie when they said, "Here are the text messages." No, those text messages were recreated. They were recreated from her memory. There is nothing there for them to criminally go after any of these people. That's why she's suing them for millions of dollars, because there's nothing out there that they can go, here's the evidence. Here's the proof. They did this. It's not there because it doesn't exist. Yeah. And if it does exist, it's buried somewhere deep under a whole bunch of bullshit, and nobody's ever going to see it ever again.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. That's the way it's been. That's the way it's worked. That's the way it's been. And I'm sick and tired of people going, this person did this nasty thing with absolutely no proof, no evidence, and no charges filed. I'm sick of it. So you know what? If you've had your big, oh my God, let's cancel people, let's ruin their lives, let's go absolutely crazy and fire people and destroy them and take their money, take their houses, take their lives, with showing absolutely no proof that anyone did anything wrong. This is your fucking bed. You sleep in it, because it's on all of you that buy into this bullshit and go along with it. That's all I have to say about it. I don't know if you have anything to follow up with, but by God, now's the time. Then we're going to talk about Lethal Weapon.
Well, I mean, yes, we are talking about Brock Lesnar. God damn, that crowd popped their heads off last night when he came back.
It's funny. It's funny being with someone that doesn't know wrestling from like 2 years ago, because Eris doesn't know shit. And she's like, who the hell is this? And I'm like, oh, that's Brock Lesnar. Who's Brock Lesnar? I'm like, remember that guy's daughter I showed you, Mia, that does the shot put? And oh yeah, that's Dad. Yeah. She does look exactly like him. Yes. They cloned him and turned him fucking female is what they did.
Yeah. I was with you, Project. I was thinking, man, why is Cena just doing a complete 180 all of a sudden? Like, if there's no rhyme or reason to this, that's just, as Cornette would call it, lazy booking. But it was cool to see Brock come back. I know Loki's probably read it. I read, that whole 69 page friggin' court document when it was made public via the Wall Street Journal at the time. I remember going through that whole thing, and the allegations against one VKM. I won't say his name. We all know who we're talking about. It was something. It was like a dark gothic friggin' horror novel reading through that thing. But when the references to a former UFC competitor and current superstar who is in negotiations for a new contract deal or something was not even name dropped in that document. There was just references. I'm thinking, well, it's probably a very small list, but of course, everybody's mind just goes right to Brock Lesnar. But, having him sit through all that for the past year and a half, 2 years, and then, everybody just kind of saying, well, we've found nothing that we can pin on him, no pun intended. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But they brought him back. Obviously, we're gonna try to start with a clean slate here. The past is the past. Tomorrow will be tomorrow, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. And until Judgment Day comes, let's just enjoy the ride.
That's right. That's right. And yes, your video is freezing up, but
I'm not surprised.
Your audio is not. I can hear your audio.
Okay. It might be a camera issue. I was having some internet difficulties about 15 minutes ago, so we'll see how it goes. So bear with me. Anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. We bored people enough with the wrestling.
Well, and just to be clear, I didn't bring this up to talk about wrestling or SummerSlam. I brought this up to talk about cancel culture. Because we live in an age where it's cancel. The slightest of anything, it's cancel. And you don't have to prove anything. You can just ruin someone's life with an allegation. That's what they do. That's the tactic they use. We're going to swarm this. We're going to make sure that this is the way everybody's going to think. And the media goes right along with it. When they are complicit, when they show you text messages and they're like, oh, here's all the evidence. But then in a little citation below that, they're like, these text messages had to be recreated, blah, 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 blah. And they know exactly what they are doing. And they're selling you this idea that this person is guilty, that this person should be punished, that this person's life should be destroyed over unfounded accusations with absolutely no evidence. That is the problem.
Yeah.
That is what I'm going to go. No, F you. You don't get to get away with that. We're gonna talk about how it is, how it was, and how it is going to be, because they keep trying this shit. And it wasn't 2 seconds before there was a million freaking messages up on Twitter about you support the WWE and their flagrant disregard for women's safety and blah 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 blah. I am not listening to any of this shit anymore. As soon as I see this out of a dumbass, it's mute. Goodbye, mute. I'm not listening to this shit anymore. They've had too easy of a time just blaming people. This goes to Mel Gibson as well, who is in both of these movies we're about to talk about this morning. He went through the exact same thing. He had a conversation with his chick that got leaked to the press. That was all a setup anyway, and got basically blacklisted from all kinds of shit, all because he had an argument with his chick who was continually egging him on to get him more angry. I'm sick and tired knowing that she's recording him. It's all fake, ladies and gentlemen. From one way or another, they are basically trying to find ways to exile people, to cancel them, because they do not agree with the way they think things should be going. So when you hear about a lot of this shit and you see a lot of this shit, just always remember when it's concerning them. They did this to Hogan too, because Mr. Good Old Bubba the Love Sponge was supposed to be his buddy that was secretly recording every conversation they had so that he could cash in and make some money off his good old buddy Hulk Hogan. It's all set up. It's all games. It's all stage, and that's the world they live in. And that's why they get canceled, just like they do. All right, let's talk Lethal Weapon since we're at 1911.
Oh
on the
my
time
God.
I know, 1911 government model sidearm. I only have to ask you one question. Do you feel lucky? Well, you better, because this gun jams a lot. That's why they use a 9mm Beretta in Lethal Weapon. Oh my God. And Rod uses a revolver. A 6-shooter, huh? I hear a lot of old timers use those still.
Go spit, Riggs. So I know we were planning one stupid mistake with idiot students who are used as flying monkeys, but if you are a bigwig, you retire with a golden parachute for major embezzlement and other crimes. Like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives, you know?
Like the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 3. He was a cop once.
Like
the dirty cop.
Yeah.
The dirtiest of the dirty that nobody remembers because it's Lethal Weapon 3. And no one remembers the bad guy. They just remember he used to be a cop. And he had access to cop killer rounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get this one out of the way since you brought that up.
Hey, Gun Buddy, that's my favorite handgun probably of all time, is the 1911. So, got a level 45. 1911 government model sidearm. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the 1911. So I'd go for a 1911 above a Glock or a Beretta any day. Continue, please. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, let's get the villains of number 3 out of the way, because I really don't have a whole lot to say about them, because I mean, you know, comparatively to the first one with Mr. Joshua and, you know, that whole cartel going on, and then with the diplomatic community, I mean,
dude,
you know,
two great bad guys. You had Mr. Joshua. Show them your determination, Mr. Joshua. Lighter, dude. You know, this is Endo. Martin Riggs, and Endo's forgotten more about torture than you'll ever know. And so much good shit, man. You had diplomatic immunity. You had I killed your wife, Riggs. I drove her off the fucking road. Right? You've got the Aryan race guys, and
it's
you've
the
got
master race.
It's the master race, and you've got the Mercs, and then you've got
Hi, Billy. Bye, Billy.
Bye, Billy.
And you're just like, who the hell is a cop? One hell of a dirty cop. They had to sell him. I mean, it was worse than wrestling. They had to be like, oh, he was the worst of the worst, and he did all this bad shit, and he had access to all kinds of stuff, and then he just disappeared, and we never knew what happened to him. The gates were closing in, and we were gonna get him, and then poof, like Kaiser motherfucking Sose, he was gone. And that movie hadn't come out yet, so whatever. And just they tried to sell him on being this like big bad, and then what do you got? You just got this whining sounding cop that has nasal problems out on a construction site. Jack Travis.
Yeah.
And it just the weakest part of the whole damn movie of 3. And there's some good things to like about 3, but this is the weakest part of 3 is Jack Travis.
Yeah. You know, and there are a lot of things I like about 3, and I'm sure I know we said we were going to try to do 3 and 4 the same day. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. You know, but to summarize my opinion on the villains in number 3, obviously comparatively to the first 2, they really don't hold a candle to, you know, what they were up against, and they certainly don't hold a lighter under Mr. Joshua's arm. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things where I think that was in essence one of the weaker points of the movie. But the one thing and you could say this maybe was an easy way to cop out, no pun intended, but I'm sort of glad that even though the enemies themselves, the villains, you know, our antagonists for number 3 were overall really not that exciting, really not even that intimidating, because it wasn't them. It was what they were bringing to the film itself. It was, the problem of, illegal weapons, illegal ammunition, cop killers, and things like that. So I'm kind of glad that even though
drugs.
Yeah. And drugs, even though the antagonists themselves were kind of a weak point, they also were able to tack on that problem that Sergeant Murtaugh was having, when he had to delete that person, the young person, because he was, firing on him with a street seized weapon there. So that kind of gave Murtaugh something to do, a little bit of, let's give Murtaugh some emotional damage this time around. We've done enough of that with Riggs. Let's make it be Murtaugh's turn.
Looking back now, I mean, I understand the way it was when it came out, obviously, because I watched it when it came out. Looking back now at like the gang thing, do you think that's like spot on representation of the way that it was, or do you think that they should have gone in a different direction?
Well, I think the easiest way to pinpoint that would be to say it was definitely, I think it was a product of its time, because we did see that a lot on the news, on channels everywhere about gangs and rival gangs and people with street cred and gang wars and all that kind of shit. And the
Blues versus the Reds.
Yeah, the Crips and Bloods, yo. I'm gonna get a hit put out on me for that one. But it was obviously a product of its time, in my opinion, for the most part, because we did, especially, I mean, we still see it now, but I mean, it was really heavily prominent back then too. If you look at all the cliques and the circles that were going around back then, and how illegal weapons coming and going, it was a real problem, and to this day it still is. It's still out there everywhere. So even though it was a product of its time, it still holds up in that regard. And I think they kind of seized that and made it one of the focal points of the film for that reason, because it's like maybe they were thinking maybe we should do a bit of a timepiece here. Let's because I mean, when it starts to taper off, when you're starting to get diminishing returns, it's like, well, how can we stay relevant? Let's talk about.
Well, 2 was bigger. 2 was bigger than 1.
2 was, yeah.
3,
and that was the tipping point for me. That's when it.
Yeah. Well, 2 did better than everything else. Obviously, 2's the best movie. In my opinion, 2's the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love 2 because that's the one where they bring Pesci in. It's got some really good extended scenes in the director's cut. I love 2. So
Yeah.
I'm everything after 2 is kind of downhill, but there's some really important stuff in 3 and 4. So I will
Yeah.
give it that. So Pesci coming back obviously is big. It's huge. Hey, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell your house. Okay.
The bathroom had to be completely redone due to bomb damage.
Due to bomb damage.
It was great.
Leo gets.
Looks it sounded like a dum wound. I don't know.
Lorna Cole, Rene Russo's character. I absolutely fucking love. She comes in this movie. So Leo comes back. Lorna is introduced. She's mean. She's angry. She doesn't play nice. She immediately has a problem with Riggs. And what do you know? They're exactly alike. They have scars as they're like tattoos. They're 2 peas in a pod. You see this.
They like the Stooges.
They like the Stooges. You see this that like comparing of scars where they're going over their bodies and they're showing each, and Riggs is like yanks his pants down. And she's like, no, that's it. It's over. And he's like, no, you want to go all the way, baby. And she's like, no, put your pants back on, Riggs. Put your pants back on. You started
all this.
That's right.
And
she's like,
now I'm finishing it.
That's right. I absolutely love her. I love her in this. I love her in 4. But the story isn't as tight and the bad guys aren't as good. And 3 just kind of it's not that it's a giant disappointment, but when it comes to, in my opinion, when it comes to the bad guys, it is definitely lacking. Now I had heard that they were gonna go full like street gang wars and shit. They decided against that, and they introduced the dirty cop to kind of level things out. Okay, whatever. You don't want to go like gang war and gangland and shit. Fine, whatever. Yeah. And knowing what we all know and how everything is, I get it. I understand why you didn't want to do that. I understand why. Dude, good luck. Flying's the safest shit you can do. It's safer than riding in a car, safer than a bus, safer than all that. You will be fine. I've been on 3 or 4 dozen planes in my life and never had any issues. So have a good flight. You're gonna enjoy it. Just chill back and enjoy it. It's a plane ride.
Enjoy the in-flight movie.
That's right.
Or whatever.
Dude, I didn't tell you when we were so we're flying into Key West. And I know Mike had to do this too, but I never asked him about it. But he did say, damn, that was a small little airport. So we're in a big plane. We're not like on like a little plane. It's not like a little puddle jumper or any of that shit. We're on a big ass plane. I think we were on a 747.
I was gonna say, was it a 747? Yeah.
And we come in
huge.
We're coming into Key West, and I'm like, water. We're really freaking low. Water. I'm like trying to like, see what I can see out the window. Eris is like in her chair, hugging her armrests.
Yeah. What if an island jumps out in front of us?
And I'm like, wow, water. Where's this airport? And we finally like touch down, and just as we're coming down, there's the beginning of the airport. And as soon as we hit brakes, everything's going in reverse. And I mean, it's screaming. And I'm like, we're on a short runway.
Oh boy.
We're on a short runway because they're having to give this son bitch everything in reverse to get us to stop. And like, as soon as we stop, I mean, it's like, we're still slowing down, and they're pulling into the terminal, still braking. And it's like, as soon as we stop, they're bringing in the ladder because there's no gate for us to connect to. So there is no gate. There's just, here's a ladder. Make your way down the damn ladder. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, Jill, Key West isn't that big. Isn't it a little tiny runway? So and a big damn plane. But hey, we were okay. And they got everything done. And we had a fun ride. And yeah, let's have a fun one. Wade. Anyway, back to Lethal Weapon because I can't focus 100% on everything, and I end up trailing off into La La Land in the middle of the show.
Word, Riggs. Word, Raj. You know what? We both got scramble brain going on today. Holy shit! It's been a busy weekend, y'all. So bear with us. So I mean, to go back to your point about not going full on gang wars in this one, if that was an original intention, I can kind of see why they didn't, because I mean, if they went all in on something like that, maybe it would have been maybe a little too real, maybe hitting a little too close to home. So at least they had, little dandy boy Jack Travis to kind of pin all that on. So you at least had like a primo bad guy to root against, even if he, like we said, he still wasn't that a memorable, villain in that aspect. But at least it was something. I mean, it gave the guys something to do. And like I said earlier, it gave Murtaugh his whole, mental kind of turmoil he was going through because of the fallout of what happened. And, and then we see Riggs' reaction to that when Murtaugh's getting blitzed on his boat, and like no one knows where he is. And, and then they have their little moment. Because at the time, they're both thinking, retirement's coming, this might be the end. I can't go back and face what I did, and Riggs gets upset, and then Murtaugh gets mad at him for other reasons, So at
this point with Lethal Weapon 3, we're wondering, are we ever going to get a scene where they're on the freaking boat?
Yeah.
Are we ever going to get to see them hanging out on the freaking boat? And Jedi Master with a $2 super chat says, Leo quote, "Do I get a gun this time?" No.
Go watch the hockey game.
Yeah, go watch the hockey game. Thank you so very much, Jedi Master. Brother, this one is just for you. Skull.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Damn straight.
Yeah.
But no, you don't get a gun this time.
Nope.
Leo does not. No, absolutely freaking not. I
Not-
wouldn't
not-
give him
not-
one either.
Not until the next one.
What did they call? What did they call the dum dum? Sounded like
It's a
dum dum
dum-dum.
Raj. Dum dum round.
Is this a dum-dum wound? It sounded like a dum-dum wound. I don't know. Keep him 3 days. 3
Give him
days.
3 days.
Poor Leo. Poor Leo.
And then they give him a fucking.
It was great. Hey, you know what?
You don't do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care. They gave him they stuck a camera up his ass in the hospital, and you don't do that to your buddy. I don't give a shit who it is. Yeah, and he needs to have a what do you put down, Riggs? And then he camera up ass.
Oh man, that was the jam in my jelly rolls. Hey, speaking of quick flashback, who of y'all who watched the event this weekend, were you like me thinking Jelly Roll was just gonna drop dead in the ring? Holy crap, that man can't even move. Anyway, so it's one of those things where I think, to counterbalance the weak antagonist, it was great to see Leo gets back, still the same character, but even though he still is the same character, it's good enough where you want more of that, and that's exactly what we got with him. It's like let's give him a job in real estate. He can show Murtaugh's house, and I don't know how, but it worked to perfection. Oh, termites. Okay. And it was great to see him back, and it was great in a sadistic kind of way. It was great to see the guys picking on him again. And I think that really pays off, because when you transition to the fourth movie, you can see, like Loki brought up earlier, when are we going to see him on the boat? Well, they've accepted him. They're all hanging out on the boat together. Yeah. Leo has, for better or for worse, become one of them. So it was great to see him come back in 3. I thought Rene Russo was a great addition, to the third one. When it's like, let's do another movie. How do we keep it fresh? Add another character. But you know what? In this case, it, like the second one, it worked, you know? And I think that that had a lot to do with how well they all work together, how well their characters mesh together. And overall, I thought it was good. Like we said, there's a lot of good in the film. I think it was just, you know, it was the villains that were kind of a weak point, because as soon
The
as you
good
take
guys
that-
were there. The good guys
were there. You know, all the good parts were there. They just added, you know, some weak portions to the film that I think could have been done better. But like I said, if it's a product of its time, it's a victim of being a product of its time. And that's not really anybody's fault. It was just, you know, how things were.
Yeah. So final thoughts. Do you want to give a score for 3 or?
No, I mean, you know, like I said before, I don't really score or grade films, you know. And I mean, especially when it comes to films like these in a franchise. Overall, the franchise, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen them, go and watch them. I mean, you're not going to go wrong there. The issue you're going to have, like we all have, is when you compare them to previous films, they obviously don't stand up as well. But that doesn't mean I think number 3 is a bad film. It's just comparatively a weaker film, but it's still a good time. It's still a good watch, because you get the gang back together and they get up to all their old shits and giggles. And there is a lot of fun to be had. There is a lot of good in the film. And, you know, it is what it is. It's Lethal Weapon 3. It's part of the family.
Woo! What's up, James? Gun Bunny says, I was laughing my ass off when Murtaugh's daughter was in the condom ad. Yes, we do. He's like, go home, boy. But daddy, no, you take him home. I have a gun. Do you understand what that means?
Mm-hmm. I thought she looked great. She made me want to go out and buy rubbers right now.
but he said he had a gun. Yeah,
George,
I know, but it's an old one. It's an old one. Okay, so 3.
Your opinion on 3. What do you got?
Managed to get through 1 and 2 last night. Hell yes, 2's the best one, like I said.
Right on.
It's fine except for the villain. I thought Hi Billy, Bye Billy was the weakest ass, non-scariest villain. It was like you pencil dick in a suit. Pencil neck dick in a suit. He just wasn't a villain. What he's doing, like a mortgage scam?
Yeah.
Really? This is what we I'm gonna build a whole bunch of shit out in the desert. I'm gonna get people to move in.
That was kind of the other, sorry to interject, you know, that was kind of the other issue I had with it too, because obviously you're not making a super villain this time around. You're giving him, you know, it's a villain with connections on corrupting the city, you know. But I mean,
he was a cop. That was their big woo. He was a cop. Not all cops are good.
Exactly. And the other issue I had with that is also, I mean, obviously comparatively, you've got Mr. Joshua, diplomatic immunity, and, you know, that knife fight that him and Riggs had. My issue with the villains,
haven't even met Jet Li's character yet.
And no. And you know, and that again, we'll talk about that, because the villains in the third one, when you take, and you know, to boil it all down, when you take their guns away, I don't really see them being a threat to Riggs and Murtaugh. Like, they could whip his ass. I mean, his friggin' Jack Travis's goons were all people you could see working at a coffee shop, you know? So, I mean, when you take their element of danger away, I don't really see them as a threat. That was the one glaring issue I had with them.
Yeah. They're just normie newbies. They definitely downgraded the bad guys in 3. We're going to see what they can do in 4. Biggest weakness in 3, though, is the villain. So Lethal Weapon 4 comes out in 1998. And we have Jet Li as Wasing Ku, the big bad. But we've also got some new people that are on the scene.
Several new people in this one.
So we've got Chris Rock as Butters. What's that guy's problem, man? He's always trying to come up to me, suck my ass, and get me coffee. It doesn't make any sense. He's banging your daughter, Raj. That's why he is trying to kiss your ass, and I think he likes me, Riggs. I think he's one of them. And they actually do that in this movie. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I think he's one of them, Riggs.
Maybe you could learn to love him as a son. In law enforcement.
Law enforcement. Because Rick knows, oh, who's the
knows.
baby's daddy? Oh, it's Butters. Oh, Murtaugh's going to hate that. There's all kinds of craziness going on. You've got Kim Chan as Uncle Benny. Absolutely hilarious. Life's you blick.
Forefathers. Oh, baby.
Forefathers.
You know, I did this during the last one. I got to do it on this one. You know, I mean, it's Chris Rock. Chris Rock's a hilarious son of a bitch. Take that, Will Smith, you asshole. You know, Lee Butters, he was great. You know, I mean, I loved the camaraderie, or the, you know, the back and forth between him and Leo, because it's like, oh man, two mouthpieces going up, you know. But it was great. It's like, you have the right to remain silent, so shut the fuck up, okay? You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we will provide you with the dumbest fucking lawyer on earth. If you get Johnny Cochran, I'll kill you. It was great to see Chris Rock.
No, absolutely great.
Yeah.
And he helps elevate this back up to him and Joe Pesci and all the shenanigans and the shit they get into. And I mean, they keep this movie fun and funny, and because this has got a more serious look. It's not just Murtaugh anymore going, I'm too old for this shit. It's Riggs. It's Riggs. Some young buck beats the shit out of him, you know, in the movie. Jet Li's kicking the shit out of him. Everybody's kicking the shit out of Riggs, and it's like, he can't get a one up on anybody.
Yeah.
He can't get a win. And he's realizing, I am too old for this shit. And you expect, okay, if they're going to make a Lethal Weapon 5, these guys are going to be captains. They're going to be, and they've already got that rank. I think they got that rank in 3, whatever.
And then it got taken away.
Then it got taken away. But you totally expect, like, okay, if they do a new movie, it's going to be Chris Rock and somebody else. And it's not going to be, you know, them, but they're going to be there in the background or some shit. They never did that. They should have. Honestly, they should have just, if you're going to switch to a new generation, just switch to the next generation and go with it. And have Riggs and Murtaugh there, and, you know, go get them, kids, and some shit. I don't know. But what would be really funny is seeing that dynamic and finding out that, like, Murtaugh's the station chief, but Riggs has got a better job than he does. So he's Murtaugh's boss. So, you know, it's like, what do you mean you ain't going to the captain of captains? Deal with me. You know, sit down, boy, and let Murtaugh, like, deal with it. And then you find out that Murtaugh's boss, who he's constantly talking crap about, is Riggs. I mean, at least that's better than, yeah. But everybody that was in the last one, everybody's back. You've got Renee Russo back as Lorna, which is Riggs's. She's pregnant with
preggers this time.
She's preggers, and she's got pregnant brain, and it's getting her in trouble. You've got Pesci. Pesci is back, obviously being Joe Pesci.
He's a PI this time. And then this big fucking shark came. Oh, can I say shit? Then this big darn shark comes. It's great seeing these guys.
But you see him on the boat. You see him on the friggin' boat. You get to see him on the friggin' boat.
Yeah, they're all together. They're hanging out. It's like, you know, he's still the guy they kind of pick on, but they like the guy. They've embraced him. They brought him in, you know. And I did really like the comedic elements to this one, because I mean, there were a lot of moments where, I mean, the laughing gas scene in the dental office, you know, that had me in stitches watching it. Before the baby, oh baby,
oh baby,
it was great. And I think that was a great counterbalance to the fact that a lot of this movie with Murtaugh and Riggs is based around the problem of, you know, just like Murtaugh said, you can't beat the clock, Riggs. They're having to come to grips in real time with their own mortality and the thought that says, I can't do this forever. You know,
the jig
priorities change. Yep.
Jig is up.
Yeah, and it's real world. I mean, we're all going to go through that at some point.
We're already going through that.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is going to be the last movie. They're selling this as the last movie. They did a huge update right before this came out to the 3 previous movies where you got the extended cuts, you got the behind the scenes stuff. And they gave it a real nice spit polish on all 3 movies, and then came out with this, knowing this is it. This is the end. I don't think they at the time they had any intention of doing a TV series or a reboot or any of that. I'm sure that'll come eventually when things aren't so racially charged that you can't have a white dude and a black dude that are both the leads of a movie. You've got to do it. You've got to hornswoggle some bullshit in to where one's above the other, which I think is absolutely stupid. These movies have always been about both characters, should remain that way. When you get actors that, like in the series, there was a big I'm the one who's in charge, and I'm the one those shows really should, the one that the show's really about. Yeah. Whereas Riggs is kind of pushed out, and the actor that plays Riggs, and they kill him off. Why? Because Murtaugh's got to be the lead. It's just the way they have to do it. That's the way they had to do it to sell it. And that's just dumb. It's never been just about Murtaugh. It's about Murtaugh and Riggs. You have to have them equally represented, and they both have to be on par. They have to be able to make the movie together. Yeah, it's just the way Lethal Weapon is.
Yeah, they're the lifeblood. They're the heart and soul, and it can't be race related. No one's pulling the race card on these things, because one of the main things I love about this franchise the most is race was never even brought up between the two of them. They were both cops. They were both trying to figure out a way to get along and work together. They were equals, and they grew together, and they saw each other as that. Race was never a focal point about anything between the two of them. They were equals. They saw it and they lived it. And that's why they were great together. That's why there is no one without the other.
That's why it took about a quarter of the first movie, the very first movie. It took about that first quarter of the movie for Murtaugh to go, maybe he really is this badass. Maybe you aren't really crazy trying to drive psycho pension. Yeah. You're not trying to get psycho pension. You're really crazy.
Exactly. I never heard Murtaugh say anything like, this guy's just a crazy ass white boy. I can't work with this. No.
Oh, they put me together with some cracker. Oh no. Hell no. Fuck that.
Never came. I'm too old to deal with white cracker ass bitches, especially the crazy ones. God damn it. Go spit, you white little fuck. That never came up. It was never a focal point.
It was never a racial issue.
And nor should it be.
No,
they are the heart and soul.
His biggest thing was, give me another partner. Yeah, some guy alone from dope, some burnout on the ragged edge. Oh, I don't need this shit. Because he doesn't want to, he's like, I'm coasting. I got my own detective thing going here. I'm chilling. Ain't nobody bugging me. And definitely ain't nobody shooting at me. Then I meet this white motherfucker that comes in, and my house gets shot up. It almost gets burned down. My bathroom gets blown up. Never once does that ever come up like that.
Never
it's
once.
Just like, I don't have a partner. Now that I have a partner, and everything's going to shit. It's
funny how
Riggs.
Yeah, it's funny how you can just, pay attention to them as human beings and absolutely nothing else. I mean, even in the third one, when they're getting in the car outside Murtaugh's house and his kids, walking to school like, word dad, and then Riggs just kind of looks at him and says, yeah, those are pretty gang colors he was wearing. But he didn't hold it against him. He's just thinking, this shit is on the streets, and now it's starting.
Now it's in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Now it's affecting someone I know, someone I look up to, someone I respect, a part of my family. We got to sort this shit out.
And that was kind of that. And to go back to 3 for just a minute, that was kind of the big sell. And 3 was, well, guess what? Yeah, we have gang shit, and there's gang territory, and there's all this stuff. But now it's in the suburbs. Now it's affecting my kids. Now it's here.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about my son who's walking around saying word.
Word, Nick.
Word, right? Worm, big worm, big worm. And so they did that, and Ford doesn't have any of that. It's just about a whole bunch of triads about the triads, making money and
in the
doing all kinds of crazy shit.
You'd already be dead. I loved seeing Jet Li. See, and that goes back to what I was saying about the third one, how they had weak ass villains if you take their weapons away. Shit, let's bring in Jet Li, a guy who can legit kick the shit out of anybody. That's awesome.
Yeah, and have him just absolutely mop the floor with Riggs, because no matter how badass Riggs is, he's not that good.
Yeah. Will it to me, Riggs. Will it to me?
You want a shot at the title? Oh, I fixing to break title over ass. Well, you don't want to go to South Africa. Why don't you want to go to South Africa? Because you're black.
But that's just it. Yeah. I mean, like I said, yeah, race was brought up a couple times. The master race accused Riggs of being a decaffeinated lover, kind of person. But I mean, that was just it. Joe Pesci went with Danny Glover to that office, and they're working together. He's like, I think you should listen to your friend. Why? Because you're black. It's like, I know I'm black, but was Leo and Murtaugh talking about race amongst themselves? No, they were working together. They were providing a distraction so Riggs could get in there and, do his little thing and shoot fish. But that was just, free South Africa, you dumb son of a bitch.
That wasn't supposed to be the opening for this movie. If you've ever read the script, the opening for the movie was supposed to be in China with Jet Li. It was supposed to be like a little, 5-minute scene to set up who Jet Li was, where he came from, what's kind of going on. And they completely got rid of that. So they completely cut that out. And it was good to show them breaking out the Triad, breaking them out of prison, and then having to get the money to get them back to China. So it would have been...
Do you think that was a good call or a bad call? Because I know...
No, I like the exploding tanker. I thought that, this is something that every single movie except for the first movie has had this opening thing. So the opening thing in the one was dumbass chick that's gonna
waste of
anyway,
a good pair of titties.
Waste of a book, damn waste of a good pair of titties. Jumps off this building, and that's the opening of the movie. The second movie, though, there is a car chase, and Riggs is going nuts, Murtaugh's going nuts. Third movie, what do we get? An exploding fucking building. They're going bigger, they're going better. What are you getting for? Oh, you get an exploding gas station. You get a guy in a fire suit, and you get a guy with a flamethrower on his back that's going to take them out. And you get Riggs and Murtaugh standing there in their underwear, block, doing their thing.
Will him not to turn around. Will him not to turn
around. He turned.
He turned around. Well, I asked, if you thought that was a good call or a bad call, cutting out, the Jet Li portion, because I know we always like to say, less is more, show us, don't tell us. Do you think if they had left that in, that would have been a little too much exposition for
him? No, I just think they had this idea to start the movie with a little expo. I think the expo would have worked. But they wanted to come in and let's give them an explosion right off the bat. Let's let them know what we're setting them up for. And it worked. Honestly, it works. Yeah. That this is what you have to expect. It's a Lethal Weapon movie. They're going to be gunfights and explosions.
Shit's gonna get crazy.
Shit's gonna get crazy. And I'm just mad they didn't bring Dolores back. You tell him that man is the jam in my jelly roll.
Jelly rolls.
I'm just
Well, actually,
mad they didn't bring her
actually,
back.
he's cowering behind the desk right here. She keeps calling my house, Riggs.
That was a fun joke. They should have brought, you tell him, they should have called in at some point and been like, ooh, Daddy Murtaugh, is that you? And oh shit, Riggs. No, this is Dolores.
I'd rather be stuck on my goddamn toilet again.
Yeah, right. They should have brought her back. I missed her. That would have been absolutely badass if they would have brought her back. But I mean, I can't argue with the casting. I can't argue with the plot. I can't argue with what they tried to do. Is it as good as 2 or 1? No, but it's better than 3, so I'll take it. In my opinion, this is a better movie than 3, and it's got, like, for the first time ever in a non-director's cut, Riggs goes to Victoria's grave, which she has done in other movies, but it had been cut out. And it's the same place. It's the same grave. It's like Victoria Lynn Riggs. And it gives you that thing you didn't even know you were missing. He's standing in the grave. He's talking to Vicky, and he's like, I'm about to go get married. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of crazy. I miss you and I love you, but it doesn't hurt nearly as bad because I have somebody now. I hope you don't hate me for that. Yada, yada, yada. And it's a nice way to, right before she gives birth. And they get married at like the last second. He's like, can you marry us? They grab a priest. I need an old priest and a young priest to marry.
I just need to hear it. And then
Lorna.
They smash the guy's urine sample. I'm glad you brought that up because it's really interesting how they gave Joe Pesci a nice moment with Riggs in probably Riggs's most sacred personal environment. He's at his dead wife's grave, and Joe Pesci's just there. Sorry, Leo Getz is there, and he gives him that nice little speech about his friend Froggy and how he's telling him, you're not better friends than Froggy, you're just different. And I think if you want to summarize, like everybody agrees, like Lethal Weapon 2 is the best. It's like Lethal Weapon 2, Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 3, Lethal Weapon 4, whatever order you want to put them in. If you want to take that bit of dialogue from Leo Getz, you can relate that to the whole franchise. You could say, if that's what you want to believe, that's the way you could look at it. You could say, you know what, the films, they're not better than one or the other. They're just different. Obviously, we all have our favorites, but I think that summarizes the franchise as a whole. There's just a lot of good ups and downs with all of them. And overall, it's just a really good time. Yeah,
a really good time that I left the Late Show thing up for the whole show because
nobody was looking at
Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. Mondays.
Hey,
a whole hour with the wrong thumbnail up on the freaking.
I didn't.
That's not even the actual thumbnail. So the thumbnail for today, which I didn't even load up because God, I'm just like, I've been up for
a long
almost
time.
3 hours now, and I still screwed it up. So
I didn't notice it because I've been up for almost 3 days now. Hey, you know what? It wouldn't be a Monday morning 0 hour if we didn't have our fatal flaws. It is what it is, guys. This is what happens when we do it live. And there's our typical Monday morning awkward silence as well.
Guys, I was dealing with professionals here. Nice fucking model. Honk, honk.
Nice fucking model. If any of you out there have not seen any of the Lethal Weapons or you're missing one in the franchise, go check them out. If you've never seen them before, go check them out. If you like buddy cop action, humor, and things that kind of tug on your heartstrings and well-written characters and plots, and for the most part, pretty cool villains, go check it out. You're going to have a good time. I promise you that. If you have seen them, Tell us what you think. Let us know. Give us some feedback, because God damn it, we can't do this by ourselves forever.
Throw
Can't
us
beat the
throw us a comment after the stream ends. Throw us a comment. Be like, I think y'all are wrong. I think Boy's the best movie, or the first movie's the best movie. I love 2. I'm sorry, that's just my favorite. It's 2. 2 also did the best financially. I wonder why. Because Leo gets. Leo gets the
whatever.
breakdown of the
Whatever.
movies.
Yeah. That was good.
So we're gonna send you guys over to Machines. I hope you have had a good time listening to us talk about Lethal Weapon. I understand it's a little different, and we don't do a lot of like, oh well, we're gonna talk about this movie series. We're gonna talk about this. I know we don't do that all the time, but thank you everybody for sticking with us and figuring out, yeah, Loki's cognitive functions are just going down the drain. They really are. They really are. It's that extra job I've got now. It's the latest job I took on now. Okay, guys, take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak friend to enter. Thank you for listening to us ramble about Lethal Weapon. And I hope you guys have a great week. So take care, everybody, and Skull, tuck and roll, and have a good one. Please teabag your server on the way to the exit. Thank you. Have a great one.
Hey, you know what I forgot? I know I said this last week, but this is really important. They fuck you at the drive-thru.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.